This is Lenny Boyer, the lawyer, coming to you live. Just as I said I would in my last video, I'm here to talk to you today about mortgage forbearance. People have this feeling that forbearance is something safe and reliable. After all, they don't really know what a forbearance is. But I can tell you, it's not a warm, cuddly teddy bear or a bear like this Ralph Lauren polo bear. It's more like a grizzly bear. Let me explain. You see, when a lender agrees to give you a forbearance, they're providing you with temporary relief from the obligation to make your mortgage payments. And that means for either 3 or 6 months, the maximum period which you can request a forbearance from the lender, you don't have to make any payments. However, at the end of the forbearance, that's when you get to meet the grizzly bear. But let's talk also about what type of loans are eligible for forbearance and what are not. The loans that are protected by forbearance and are required to offer you a forbearance if you request it are only those loans that are backed by a federal government agency, such as Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or HUD, or in some cases, the U.S. Department of Agriculture. However, forbearance also applies to loans that are reverse mortgages. So, regular mortgages, reverse mortgages, second mortgages, etc., are covered by mortgage forbearance. So, for the time of the forbearance, you don't have to pay the loan, but it's at the end of the forbearance that you meet the grizzly bear. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. But first, I want to ask you, do you know how forbearance will affect your credit? Forbearance is not supposed to affect your credit. However, I don't think you should rely on that. I think you should check with all three major credit bureaus to make sure that your credit has not been adversely affected. Because if it has, you'll need to know that. Now, a forbearance is for 3 to 6 months. Again, it must be specifically requested from the lender, and only lenders that are backed by federal government agencies such as Freddie Mae, Fannie Mac, HUD, the Housing and Urban Development Corporation, or the Department of Agriculture are required by law to offer forbearances to a qualified borrower that's experiencing financial difficulty. A forbearance must be requested directly from the lender. And under the current rules of the CARES Act, you are not obligated to provide the lender with documentation of your financial hardship. But if you do obtain a forbearance, you certainly should get something in writing from the lender that a forbearance has been granted to you. Now, I told you at the end of the forbearance, you're going to find out just what kind of bear you're actually dealing with. What kind of bear you're dealing with is the grizzly bear, and it's got big claws and a lot of teeth, and it's coming for your house. And it's going to be able to get your house because the mortgage lenders are not obligated to get to give you a loan modification. You can with the skilled attorney work out potentially a mortgage loan modification, but they don't have to do that. However, I do have some answers. My firm, Boyer Coffy LLC, specializes, among other things, in mortgage foreclosure defense and Chapter 13 bankruptcy. So, what that means to you is we form a barrier between you and the lender to protect your house. By filing for Chapter 13 bankruptcy and applying for a mortgage loan modification through the Bankruptcy Court's mortgage modification program, that's your best chance of getting a mortgage loan modification and holding off the forbearance. But I want you to understand that even with a properly filed Chapter 13 and a plan and an application for a mortgage loan modification, the lender is not obligated to, to stop foreclosure proceedings, and they can proceed. However, when you have an experienced mortgage foreclosure defense attorney who has filed the bankruptcy for you, then and only then do you have a chance. You see, I stand between you and the lender taking your home. I will negotiate with the lender's attorneys on your behalf, and we will seek a mortgage loan modification through the Bankruptcy Court's mortgage loan modification program. But that's too much to go through in this one video. I'll tell you more in my next video about the Bankruptcy Court and the mortgage loan modification program. But to sum up for now, remember these key points, if nothing else. Forbearance does not mean forgiveness of the loan. That doesn't happen. Once the forbearance period is over, you must write a check for the full amount of the time your loan has been in forbearance, whether it's 3 or 6 months. And that check must cover principal and interest. But by retaining an experienced mortgage foreclosure defense and bankruptcy firm like Boyer Coffy, LLC, we stand between you and the lender from taking your home. I'll tell you more about that in our next video. But for now, if you have any questions or concerns, please leave them in the chat below, and I'll see you soon.